Y'all already know what it is, man. We got this zip tie right here. We got these shoelaces that say shoelace. We got whatever this orange thing is right here. We got this box that look like cheese, man. Y'all already know what the vibe is today. Virgil on deck, special delivery. Let's go. What's good, family? It's your boy Sykes, and you are looking live at another episode of Special Delivery, where today we got our very first off-white joints on set, man. We're taking a look at Virgil Abloh's brand new Dear Summer dunks from his latest collection, courtesy of my guy, Samit Shah, who was kind enough to send his pair through after he won them on the sneakers app somehow. I don't know how he did it, but thank you so much, big homie. We appreciate you over here. But anyway, man, look, if you've been following me on Twitter, on the newsletter here, then you know that this Dear Summer collection, not necessarily my vibe. I feel like there's a little something missing from these things, and we gonna talk about it. But before we get into all that though, let's unbox these things. All right, man, let's see what Virgil talking about. Actually, first of all, before we get to these sneaks, man, like, this box is wild. Like, I'm not tripping, right? Like, this is your off-white box, and it has this sort of deconstructed look to it, right? Like, you can see all the holes in it everywhere, and these are like covered in with plastic. But you also have like this design that looks like tape on the side of the top, which is wild. You got this drawn on swoosh right here, just classic off-white stuff, man. You see on the side, you have the 50 lots that come in the Dear Summer collection, and this number 13 is checked, and we'll get into all that in a second. But before we do, let's open these things up, man. See what's going on in here. All right. Okay. Ooh, okay. All right, Verge. Okay, Verge, look at these things, man. Look, it's an off-white shoe, so you know that you always gonna get a lot of detail on an off-white shoe, and you're always gonna get a lot of quality material. And I think you get that here for sure. And it all starts to me with this hairy suede on the overlay of this dunk, right? Like, this is some really cool suede and a really cool detail on this sneaker. And then you got your buttery leathers just underneath of all that, which is a pretty smooth touch, man. It's like your classic dunk look almost. And then that's when things start to get wild on this thing. Like, you get all your off-white touches on here, right? You got your overlace right here, and it says shoelaces. It's in this habanero red color, right? And then you go to your classic off-white zip tie right here. Everybody recognizes off-white shoes from these zip ties. This is in like this royal blue color. You got this deconstructed tongue right here, right? It has this hole in it. It's got another chunk taken out of it. You've even got your shoelaces right here that actually say shoelace, which again, another classic off-white touch. On the inside of the shoe, you see you got the off-white text here. You got the Beaverton, Oregon, C1985. This is just the classic off-white touches on this thing, man. But the most interesting part of this shoe to me is it's gotta be this little badge right here on the midsole, man. This says 13 out of 50, which represents the number lot that this shoe is. And so the Dear Summer collection is a collection of 50 different dunks that are supposed to be different designs. And this is the 13th design out of 50. And I think that's a pretty cool concept, but it would be even cooler if this dunk didn't look a lot like the other dunks within the collection. Like, that's getting to my problem with this collection. But before we actually get into that though, let's talk a little bit more about the Dear Summer collection, because that's important to add. Look, man, we all know what cloth Virgil Abloh is cut from at this point. I mean, dude is not only one of the best designers at Nike, he's one of the best designers in the world. He is the artistic director of Louis Vuitton. He gave us Off-White as a brand and as a company, and he also gave us the 10 as a collection, which still to this day holds up as one of Nike's best collections of sneakers ever. And all those years since, nothing has really been able to quite touch that. But I feel like that's where the Dear Summer collection was supposed to come in. I mean, this is a collection of 50 different pairs of dunks during the height of Nike's current dunk era. And I feel like there was so much that you could do with that. There was so much hype surrounding these sneakers, and we had so many questions about them. How do we get these? What will they look like? What are the colorways going to be? Is this going to be literally the peak of the current Nike dunk era? And I feel like as we started to get answers to those questions, we figured out that, maybe this wasn't going to be as dope as we thought it was. Yes, this was 50 different pairs of Nike dunks, but they all essentially look the same in these sort of muted gray and white tones. And there was one triple black pair that is the 50th design in the group. And that shoe was interesting, I guess, if that's your vibe, but I just feel like there was not too much detail that differentiated it from a regular Nike dunk outside of the off-white touches that you have on it with these different color overlaces and this different color tongue and this different color zip tie. But for those to be the differentiating details in the shoe, that was a little bit disappointing. And then when you add on top the fact that these things only dropped on the sneakers app via exclusive access, which for those of us out of the loop, this is essentially when Nike's sneakers app algorithm chooses you to buy these shoes. That was frustrating for a lot of different people. And that's sort of why I'm so frustrated personally with this collection overall. I mean, that's not to say that these shoes right here are bad, but we can't look at these shoes individually. This is a collection, and as a collection, this is beyond disappointing. We've seen so much better from Virgil, whether you want to talk about something like the 10 or something more recent like the off-white Jordan 5s or the Sail 4s, or even, the rubber dunks that were clearly a different take on a hot model in the dunk, where he fused it with a different shoe. Like, that's cool. That's something different. That's something new. These are just more of the same. And I feel like it's riding a bit of a wave at a certain point instead of making a new one, which is something that we've known Virgil to do since he's been with Nike. So I gotta say, man, these are extremely disappointing. I hate to be so critical of Virgil, but I gotta be honest about these things, man. Here's why. Honestly, I don't like being this critical of Virgil because Virgil is a black designer, and let's be honest, there just are not that many black designers in this industry in the first place, but there especially aren't that many at his level. And so I think being critical of him is important, but he also deserves the right as a designer to not hit that same peak that we see him hit every single time he drops something. I mean, that's exhausting, and it's also impossible to do. And we also don't ask that of his white counterpart. So that's definitely something to think about and keep in mind as we talk about these sneakers. But we gotta be honest, man, there's just not a lot of creative juices, or at least it seems like there weren't a lot of creative juices when it came to making these shoes. There's just not too much color to them. The only differentiating details are the off-white touches in terms of the overlays, the tongue, the zip tie, and those things. But this is a Nike dunk, and you know the history of the dunk. There have been so many different iterations of this sneaker. There have been so many different looks at it, and you just know from what Virgil has done before, whether it's the 10, whether it's, again, that Jordan 5, whatever he's done, we've seen him do a lot more creative things in terms of colorways, designs, just overall looks and aesthetics of sneakers. So we know that he can do so much better. This would be like LeBron James averaging 18, 4, and 4 as a player in a season. And I mean, that's good for a regular NBA player, but we're not talking about a regular NBA player, man. We're talking about LeBron James. A regular Nike dunk is fine for any designer, but we're not talking about any designer. We're talking about Virgil Abloh. And when it comes to Virgil, we expect nothing but excellence, the best of the best. And just keeping it a buck, man, this just doesn't really feel like that. And then when you add on the frustrations from the way that it dropped in terms of surprising people and having them have to look at this content on the sneakers app and still not being able to get the shoe in a lot of different cases, this entire thing just feels like a mess that didn't really need to happen, and it definitely shouldn't have gone down this way. But hopefully the next time they come with something, they can get it right. But anyway, fam, that's a wrap for Special Delivery. I'm your boy Sykes, and this is Virgil Abloh's brand new off-white dunks, man. We'll catch y'all on the flip side. Peace. Thank you so much, family, for watching this episode of Special Delivery. Make sure you like and subscribe to catch future episodes of Special Delivery. I gotta let y'all know we're gonna be out the next couple weeks, but I promise you when we get back, we will have some heat on deck. But in the meantime, in the comment section, let me know if y'all think these joints are fire, man. Clearly, I don't necessarily think this is the greatest collection, but you might think something different.